Where does this water come from that we put in the hall? Well, where does the water come from there? Because I was in Boise, our temple in Boise. One of the devotees is he's the director of the entire water district for the, whatever it is. And it's after the sun, everyone's sitting there taking for the Sunday feast. They have another room. And someone went to get him a glass of water, and they got a water from the tap. He said, "Oh, no. I said, "Hey, I thought you were in charge." He said, "Oh, I know what's going on." He said, "I wouldn't touch that stuff, So, although here's an interesting thing. In France, when Prabhupada came to Paris, they gave him a bottle, and they poured from, what is that? Perrier. Prabhupada said, no. Prabhupada took from the tap. Of course, this is 1970. And Prabhupada said, because the water is flowing, water should be flowing. If it's flowing, it'll be better than water that's been sitting in a bottle or in a tank for who knows how long. So you never know. You know what avion is spelled backwards? Naive. People are being cheated. They're cheating this way, they're cheated that way. Jayarado Madhava Kunda Vihari. Happy, not a funeral march. Jayarado Madhava Kunda Vihari. Gopijana Balava Girivanadari. Jasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Jamunatira Vanatari. Injeraro Marava Kunda Vihari. Gopijana Balava Girivanadari. Jasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Jamunatira Vanatari. Tira Vanatari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Vihari, Radha Madhava Kunda Vihari. Jai Vishnupad Paramahansa Peri Vijayagacharya Asatata Shishman. His Divine Grace Abhaicharan Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki. ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Jagaguru Srila Prabhupada Ki. Ananda Kota Vaishnava Vrinda Ki. Namchar Srila Haridas Thakur Ki. Prem Shri Gaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Dvaita Gadadhar Shiva Sari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki. Sri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Gita Govardhan Ki. Vrindavan Dham Ki. Mathura Dham Ki. Dwarka Dham Ki. Navadvip Dham Ki. Jagannath-pur Dham Ki. Jamuna Mai Ki. Ganga Mai Ki. Tulsi Maharani Ki. Bhakti Devi Ki. Samveda Bhakti Vrinda Ki. Srila Prabhupada Ki. Sri Radha Giridhari Ki. Shri Krishna Sankirtana Jaga Ki. Go Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Well, everybody's got their devices, both figuratively and literally. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Krishna Swadamo Bhagate Dhammaganari Bisaha Kalana Sadasham Misha Parana Kododata Narana Namaskritchananam Shaivam Narottama Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayat. The Bhagavatam is written as the sun is arisen just after the departure of Lord Krishna to his own abode, accompanied with knowledge, religion, etc. Persons who've lost their vision through the dense darkness of the age of Kali should get light out of this Purana. Before beginning our studies of srimadbhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, we should first offer respects to the personality of God in Narayan, to the Narayan Rishi, the supremmost human being, the goddess of learning, Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, my spiritual master, the author Srila Vyasadeva, and my spiritual master Srila Prabhupada. Okay. Did we say Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya? Yeah. Okay. Nunam Vimusta Matayas Tava Mayaya Te Ye Tvam Bhavapyaya Vimokshanam Anyaheto Archanti Kalpaka Tarum Kunopo Bhabogyam Ichanti Yat Sparsajam Niraye Pi Nrinam Nunam Vimusta Matayastava Mayayate Ye Tum Bhavapayaya Mokshanam Anyahetuho Archanti Kalpakatarum Kunapopabhogyam Ichanti Yat Sparsajam Niraye Pinrinam Nunam Vimushta Matayastava Mayayate Ye Tvam Bhavapyaya Vimokshanam Anyahetuho Archanti Kalpakatarum Kunapopabhogyam Ichanti Yat Sparsajam Nirapinrinam Hanti Yat Sparsajam Nirayepinam Nunam Vimushta Matayastava Mayayate Ye Tvam Bhavapaya Vimokshanam Anyahetuho Archanti Kalpakatarum Kunapopabhogyam Ichanti Yat Sparsajam Nriyayepi Nrinam
Nunam Vimushta Matayastava Mayayate Yetvam Bhavapyaya Vimokshanam Anyaheto Archanti Kalpakatarum Kunapopabhogyam Ichanti Yat Sparsajam Nirayepi Nrinam
Nunam Vimushta Matayastayayate Ye Tvam Bhavapyaya Vimokshanam Archanti Kalpakatarum Kunapopabhogyam Ichanti Yat Sparsajam Nirayam Nunam Vimushta Matayastava Mayayate Ye Tvam Bhavapya Vimokshanam Anyahetuho Archanti Kalpakatarum Kunapopabhogyam Ichanti Yat Sparsajam Nriyayepi Nrinam Vaishnavi. Nunam vimushta matayas tatanayayate. Ye tam bhavapya ya vimokshanam anyametoho. Archanti kalpa katarum kunapopa bhogyam. Ichanti yat sparsajam nuyahepini. I have a question for you, Dravida Prabhu. And I'm wondering about this word vimushta mataya, which says those who have lost their right intelligence. And I'm but it's mushtika. I'm thinking of the demon who was fighting with the wrestler, mushtika. Yeah, so there's no okay, fine, no. Okay. Nunam, certainly. Vimushta mataya. Those who have lost their right intelligence. Tava, your. Mayaya. By the influence of the illusory energy. Yea, they. Yea, who? Tvam, you. Bhava, from birth. Apyaya, and death. Vimokshanam, the cause of liberation. Anyahetu, for other purposes. Archanti, worship. Kalpakatarum, who are like the desire tree. Kunapa, of this dead body. Upabhogyam, sense gratification. Ichanti, they desire. Yet that which sparshajam, derived by touch sensation. Nidaye, in hell. Api, even. Nrinam, for persons. Translations. Persons who worship you simply for the sense gratification of this bag of skin are certainly influenced by your illusory energy. In spite of having you, who are like a desire tree, and the cause of liberation from birth and death, foolish persons such as me desire benedictions from you for sense gratification, which is available even for those who live in hellish conditions. Also you say, persons who worship you simply for the sense gratification of this bag of skin are certainly influenced by the illusory energy. In spite of having you, who are like a desire tree, and are the cause of liberation from birth and death, foolish persons such as me desire benedictions from you for sense gratification, which is available even for those who live in hellish conditions. Purport. Dhruva Maharaj repented because he had come to the Lord to render devotional service for material profit. He here condemns his attitude. Only due to gross lack of knowledge does one worship the Lord for material profit or for sense gratification. The Lord is like a desire tree. Anyone can have whatever he desires from the Lord. But people in general do not know what kind of benediction they should ask for. Happiness derives from the touch of the skin, or sensuous happiness is present in the life of hogs and dogs. Such happiness is very insignificant. If a devotee worships the Lord for such insignificant happiness, he must be considered devoid of all knowledge. Om Aganatam Randasya Gyanagana Salakaya Jakshushun Militan Gena Tazare Shri Gurave Namaha. Of course, we know the storyline that Dhruva Maharaj was looking for a kingdom greater than his father or grandfather. Greater than his father for sure.
Yeah, greater than his father, then it's but ultimately greater than Brahma.
Greater than Brahma, yeah. So, and what is the analogy that ultimately Dhruva Maharaj, other than Dravida Prabhu, who knows everything, who is it, what is the analogy that Dhruva Maharaj gives? Yes. Looking for, I came to you, I was looking for broken glass and I found the jewel, the divine, yeah. And isn't that a name? Neela something is a name for Krishna, a beautiful, like sapphire jewel, Anyway, that'll do. So the point is that Chanakya Pandit, and Prabhupada quotes it several times, he said, we should never give up the permanent for the temporary. You'll lose both. It's a great way to think about things. Should never give up the permanent for the temporary. You'll lose both. Damodar Kumar, what does that mean? Never give up the permanent for the temporary. You'll lose both. Temporary, you're going to lose anyway, isn't it? It's going to go by the force of time. You can't hold it back. So if that which is permanent, which is a permanent asset, if you give up that for that which is ephemeral, well, you've lost the permanent, and you're going to lose that anyway. So you're a loser. You're a double loser. So never give up the permanent for the temporary. You'll lose both. We should go for the permanent, because that's a genuine asset. That's something you can walk home. You can take to the bank. So it's talking about intelligence here. And, what is it? Those who perform Sankirtan Jagat, those who worship Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you have to have sufficient intelligence. I mean, it's just a fact of most people in the age of Kali live over where I live, at the diamond in the rough. They should call it coal apartments, because you can't. We're all mashed in there together. You can't help but hear the things happening in their life and lamenting and fighting, or exhilarated by, this is gonna, they're exhilarated Friday night, and then Saturday morning they barfed in their shoes and can't remember where they are, and the whole thing is just, that's extreme. But you hear the hankering and lamenting and grief and such foolishness, and again and again and again they do it. So you have to have sufficient intelligence. What is it, a fool? An intelligent person learns by hearing. A little less intelligent, but at least some lights are turned on. They learn by seeing. Well, that didn't work out for him, didn't work out for him, didn't work out for him. And then what's the next? You walk right into the wall, bang! You think, well, I'm never going to do that again. So you learn, as Rabindra Sarup points out, that Romeo and Juliet were quite young. They were young teenagers. And they just gave their heart, and the whole thing, he dies, she dies, the families go to war. It's just a total disaster. So, but Rabindra points out that, one innocently throws one's heart, but after you get kicked in the head, I actually saw this. Prabhupada talks about and I'm not talking about necessarily solely men and women, but the whole principle of throwing one's heart into material enjoyment. You get kicked enough times, one would hope that one says, "Jeez." And Prabhupada gave the classic example, which I personally saw sitting on the banks of the Jamuna one time, many, many years ago in Vrindavan, was that the male donkey goes chasing after the female donkey, and I saw it. She kicks up her back heels and clunked this guy with both. I must have been almost a football field away. I heard the sound of the guy's head. He was hee-hawing, chasing after, clunk, and he was just kind of stunned there for a while, kind of figured, oh well, he went another way, she went another way. But the point is that an intelligent person learns by hearing. Good advice, okay, that makes sense, I won't do it. little less. They see people and they think, oh, jeez, look at that poor person. And then still they don't learn. They try it themselves and they get kicked in the head. They think, oh, sense gratification, that's not working out. And what is the worst? Even that they go through that whole cycle, still they continue. It is the classic is Prabhupada in the park in Cheviot Hills in L.A. And usually he would get out of his car and walk clockwise. This particular day he walked counterclockwise. And Prajapati, the thespian, he had that voice, like, you know, and he said, I say, Srila Prabhupada, when we walk through the park at a different direction and see all the objects from another angle, it seems like a completely different park. And you hear on the tape, Prabhupada really starts to laugh. Prabhupada just can't believe it. And Prabhupada said, this is material life. It's the same thing. You just see it from a little different angle. Prabhupada's classic example is that a lusty man was attracted to a courtesan, a so-called high-class prostitute. And a married man. And because he was poor, he couldn't fulfill his aspiration. And he became morose. And his wife picked up on the fact that he was morose and said, what is the issue? And Prabhupada points out, the man was such a rascal. The man actually told her, oh, wish I was with this other woman. I want to enjoy with her. And the wife was so humble and pious, or I don't know what you call it. She went to the prostitute's house, was cleaning her house and cooking and doing the laundry. And the prostitute asked, why are you doing this? She said, well, explain that my husband wants you but has no money. And so the prostitute said, well, you're a very nice person. You are pious. So your husband's a fool, but send him, such and such night. So the guy showed up, I don't know, flowers, box of candy, My father was an officer in the Navy. They said candy is dandy, but liquor is quicker. So anyway, whatever the medium for seduction, he shows up. And so she says, wait. There's a art to these things, that first we have a nice meal. So, okay, So does anyone know what the prostitute did? Each dish, let's say 7 courses, each course, like the soup course or the salad course, whatever, each course came in, this is Prabhupada's story, each course came in 3 bowls. Same thing, 1 gold, 1 copper, 1 iron. 3 different bowls. 3 bowls, 3 different metals, but the same dish in each metal. So it went on for whatever it was, 5 courses, 4 courses, whatever it was. And at the end, she said, all right, time to go, enjoy. And he said, oh, fine, thank you, but I just have one question. Why did you serve the same prep in 3 different bowls? And she asked him, did it taste any different in any of the bowls? The same sabji in the copper bowl, gold bowl, iron bowl, did it taste any different? He said, no. She said, you're a fool, go home. What's the purport? It's the same thing. It's just packaged a little differently, or it's, but you looking at it from a different angle, like Prabhupada in the park, but it's the same thing. And not only is it the same thing, what this Rishabdev says, it's for, the human form of life is artha. It's meant to deliver the greatest thing. Atato Brahma Jigyasya. And Prabhupada, just that one word, you can give a purport on every word. Atata means obtained after great endeavor and struggle, lifetimes on the wheel of samsara, through all the different, 900,000 species of fish? Aquatics? Yeah. And then so many different things, and finally you get to the human form of life, and you spend it, waste it, for that which is available to the dogs and hogs. I mean, what is it, sparsa jum? And the same thing, the contact of the, Krishna says the same thing in the Gita, that the contact of the senses with their sense objects. I mean, what is it really, Certain fibers are firing in the brain. There's a little spark, spark, spark. So a little titillation. My grandfather died. He got a horrible type of cancer that worked its way up from the tip of his spine. And at the end of the thing, he couldn't hear, he couldn't see, he could barely move. And he sat in a chair, and he had a bowl of hard candy. Sugar candy, like sugar drops or whatever, fruit drops or whatever. Because the tongue still worked. And he would lie there and he'd drop one on his tongue and just let it dissolve. Ah, cherry. And when the cherry was gone, he'd drop it. He couldn't see it. He'd just drop it on his, lemon. That was, he was squeezing to the last minute. And it was just the senses and it's nothing, It's nothing to write home about, as they say. It's the same to dogs. Frankly, we are ladled, and rightly so, with the gift of guilt and shame. I mean, I'm not trying to put the Puritan guilt inside of you, but it's a fact. But the dogs they don't feel any shame or guilt. The hog doesn't feel... You never see a hog scrub himself up. You never see him, they go to the hog saloon and come out with a nice, fancy hat and all buffed up and perfumed, They're lying, anyone who's been to India knows the hog is like no restrictions. He's just lying right there in the mud, ugly, stinky, smelly, eating any damn thing, sex with anything, and proud of it. So, but it's just the senses and touch. I mean, you can just, if we could graph it, the heart has both they call it the pumping side, which is the circulatory side, and there's also the electrical system. They need, So, but if you were to graph, I'm touching this, I want to touch something, whatever it may be. But it's really just, if you could graph the thing, get National Geographic on it, I'm sure it's just, there's some little contact, something here, and it sends a little spark, and it goes along the electric wire, and it goes into the... It's nothing. It is nothing really, but just the electrical spark. And we're thinking, very nice. Because it comes ladled with all these concepts, mental constructs. So, it doesn't really hit the spot. And the general condition, I remember, and I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. I remember Ambarish saying one time, someone said, money can't buy happiness. And Ambarish Prabhu, Alfred Ford, said, people who don't have money hope that that's true. Money can't buy happiness. People who don't have money hope that it's true, because if it's true, then you're up a creek. You don't have money, you're not going to be happy. But then he said with deep conviction, he said, but people who have money know that it's true. His mother, I don't think you'll mind me saying, maybe it was his grandmother. Sorry, Ambarish, if you're listening. Was an alcoholic. She was, and you find, they just completely burn out from sense gratification. They're bitter and angry and drug addiction and so many different things, You've heard it all before, but the point is that it's the happiness of the hogs, this sense stimulation, is really petty, paltry, putrid, pernicious. Any more P's we can come up with? It's nothing. It's nothing paltry. It's nothing to write home about. Pathetic. There you go. It's pathetic. It's just... That means fighting, doesn't it? So, oh, geez, look at the time. We need to see how foolish we are. Material life is. We need to have some energy. Somebody sent me a cartoon one time. I forget what the purport was, but it was about boneless chicken. And the chickens they were chickens, but they were all, So, what if we don't have a backbone, or no bone structure? What would we be? Just some pile of jelly. Yeah, just a pile of jelly. You got to have a backbone, then you can stand up, So Krishna said, Arjuna lays out his whole lamentation and makes a good case for it. And Krishna says, yeah, armed with you, all right, you're right. Fine. Mind is difficult to control. Fine. So what? Armed with yoga, stand and fight. You got to have a backbone. There comes a time that you have to stand and fight. You got to say no. You got to dig your heels in and stand up and say, I'm going to fight. Otherwise, you're just an amorphous jellyfish, and what is the use of your life? And you're not going to go anywhere or do anything. You're going to lie there as a puddle of gelatinous, is that right? Mass? Yeah, just like, lamenting. What is it? Determination that can't go beyond dreaming. We're just unsatisfied because this touching of the senses and doesn't satisfy. We're going to lie there as another word I'm looking for. Gelatinous, whatever, but gelatinous. We will lie there like a gelatinous glob. Yeah, thank you very much. Lamenting, unsatisfied, and accomplish nothing. Got to have a backbone, right? And one of the elements that gives us a backbone is a genuine conviction about the pettiness of this material happiness. It's not such a big deal to chase after. Should I give up Krishna's lotus feet? At least the potential. We know that it's true, potential. Indeed, I should at least try to stick to it, because if I stick to it, I'm going to get Krishna, which here's described as a desire tree of all things. And I give it up and just remind. And it's not even that, okay, it's easy to be this gelatinous puddle. But I'm not even happy. I'm lamenting. Because we cannot, Hare Krishna Mataji, we can't get around the burning desire. We want, just like when we're thirsty, don't drink water. I mean, there comes a point. I mean, for me, I don't know about the rest of you, but Nirjala Ekadasi, that takes you got to be a little determined. And I am very happy after Mangalartik, after whatever the auspicious proper time is, the drinking that water really it's nice, Sooner or later you got to drink. So the soul, just as we crave, have to drink water. We want Krishna. That's just the way it is. So even you're a gelatinous goop, no backbone, you're not going to be happy. It's not going to work. So sooner or later, we've got to pick it up and move forward. And part of it that gives us that backbone is the understanding of there's so much more. It's just petty, pathetic. So, and Prabhupada gives two examples of that, and here's Krishna who can solve everything. This one life, give it to Krishna. It'll solve everything. Prabhupada says that the old lady is carrying a bundle on her head. I've seen this in India. You see all these things in India. And it was a bundle of sticks. and they fell off her head. And she was all by herself, walking from village to village, from her village to sell somewhere else, and the bundle of sticks, and she's an old lady. So how to pick them up? Previously, her son or daughter had helped her put the sticks on her head so she could go to the marketplace and sell them. Now she's halfway there, all by herself, the sticks fall on her head. And she prays, oh Krishna, please come. And what does she want Krishna to do if he comes? Put the sticks back on her head, you know? I mean, Krishna, she could go back to, forget the sticks, go back to Godhead, you know? Or Prabhupada said the man is, pulling a barge. Sometimes they're rowing, but sometimes, and I've actually seen this. You see men lined up on the bank, and they do this in Africa. I saw it in Burma. And they're actually pulling the barge. They're walking along the bank. One guy's on the boat steering to keep it from going into the shore. And then the men are walking along. There's a path, and they're walking, and they're pulling the thing. I mean, that must be tough. Hot, and I mean their feet, they're quite calloused. But so one man is praying, oh God, please, if only you would put pillows on this bank. He's still pulling the barge, you know. Why ask Krishna for that? Or you meet Bill Gates, he says, I'll give you anything you want. You say, could you give me an iPhone? Or not, he's not Apple. So you meet Steve, what? The guy can give you so many things, and you ask him for a used computer or a new computer? I mean, people look at you like, what kind of idiot are you? Did you miss an opportunity? And yet here we are with the human form of life in the association of devotees reading Bhagavatam in front of Radha Giridhari. What do you want to do today? Well, we can cook for Krishna. You can go out to the park and chant. We can paint. We can draw. We can clean. You can garden. I mean, so many ways you can serve Krishna. And we're thinking, well, so I want to, and we'll finish on this, but I just want to mention, because it mentioned Pavarga, and Balaram spoke a little bit, this dharmasya hiyapavargasya, that the purpose of real dharma is to uproot, to end the path of Pavarga. And Pavarga is what this world is, stripped of the fancy veneer, perfumed veneer. This is what it actually is. I mean, excuse the scatological analogy, but if you get a nice fancy box of cake, Valentine's, Christmas was just over. They squeezed people as much as they could for Christmas, and it was an amazing thing. At Christmas, okay, as soon as Christmas, then they jack you up for New Year's, right? You got to go out for New Year's. And I thought, well, geez, maybe there'll be, you would think there'd be a respite. There'd be a little man, they're hitting you for Valentine's Day, isn't it? Like right after, it's, jeez. So, okay, fine, you're dummy, you're the donkey going for the, the carrot on the sticks of Valentine's Day. And suppose you get a big box of, heart-shaped, fancy, frilled candy. You open it up, and there's a big pile of stool. What? What's this all about, Stripped of its veneer. Or anyway, ice cream when it melts. I can't eat it. I could, but it certainly wouldn't be good for me. But, ice cream. I used to love ice cream. There it is. Saffron, that pishta from India. Nice, and in New Vrindavan. Oh, for youth. No, I'd much rather be old but wise. New Vrindavan used to make mango ice cream from their own cow's milk and from fresh mangoes. And I'm telling you, that ice cream, you took once, you could hear the cows mooing. You were just over the moon, as they say. It was the most blissful stuff. Fresh mango ice cream from our own cows, from devotee cows. They used to have milk from contented cows, so those are the ultimate contented cows. But let it melt. Well, how does it look to you then? You just lap it up? You order some nice ice cream at the MVT, ISKCON ice cream at the Vrindavan restaurant. You're a young man, you can digest a stone, no problem. And they bring it to you, and it's warm in a cup with a spoon. Here's your ice cream. Well, it's ice cream all day. Come on, man. But just a little bit of time, let it sit there, and what is this? And the whole material world, it's just like they just leave it alone. It's, what is it? Earth, water, fire. It just breaks down to these mundane elements. You wouldn't take a piece of clay, mud, mold it into a beautiful man and a woman. Isn't Pygmalion the guy who falls in love with his statue? Yeah. So, would you do that? If I just piled up your plate, like everyone likes Canela's, Canibali's burritos. I can't eat them, but I take them. But I get a nice quesadilla, or whatever. There were so many devotees who are nice cooks. So you sit down for a nice cook, but instead of the regular tasty preparation, one of Jamal Prabhu's far out somethings, and you're looking, there's just a pile of mud on your plate. I mean, I know finances are always tight, but come on, But it's the same thing. It's earth, fire, water, air, ether. It's the same substance. It's just packaged differently. So this pavarga strips material life to what it actually is, minus the perfume, minus the illusion, minus the packaging. And it's broken into syllables. We'll just power through it quickly, because hopefully it is breakfast, and Jamal Prabhu did make something nice. So the pavarga, pava, like that. So parishrama means laboring, working. We're all obliged to work. You have to work. Even you're a millionaire, you got to get up in the morning. You got to brush your teeth. You got to go. You got to go to the bank. Everybody's got to do something. You got to manage the estate. You're forced to. Everybody's forced to move from point A to point B. Everybody has to work. And what to speak of, unless you're born with a golden spoon in your mouth, and again, like I'm saying, even then you got to manage the estate. You got to go to the bank. You got to check with the stockbroker. You're being cheated left and right. You got to go to the ball, dance. You got to get out of bed, brush your teeth, go to the barber. You got to have whatever. Everybody's got to work. Everybody's got to move from point A to point B. And for most people, it's hard work. It's a struggle. So then the next syllable is which means that hard laboring. Yeah, if you work hard, and what's a classic example other than Dravida? Working hard. Everyone has to work. Other than the ladies know. Horse. You see the horse has to run, and they foam at the mouth. And even sometimes I've seen people who are working, like racing, really running, they'll also foam at the mouth. So you have to work, not skipping through the tulips, but you got to work hard. Foaming at the mouth so hard you have to work. And then your desires are bad. Why are you working so hard? You want to get something for it, isn't it? But what is it? The Rudra principle, anger after frustration. Either you don't get it, you get it and it's not as good as you thought. And then even if you get it and you like it, what happens? Well, first off, there's the saturation principle. First off, you don't get it. If you get it, okay, great, I got it, but it really didn't pan out. Okay, well, I actually got it. It actually was great, but there's the saturation point. You become, 1 scoop of ice cream, 2 scoops of ice cream, 3 scoops. You never see 15 scoops of ice cream. Man, I'm done. There's the saturation point. You become bored and unsat and looking for something else. And if that doesn't get you, you're going to lose it just by the force of time. Either you're going to lose your teeth, no more ice cream for you, you're going to get diabetes, whatever, or you're going to drop dead. So it's this, you work hard, so hard, you're foaming at the mouth, And then you're frustrated. Your desires are unfulfilled or don't satisfy, or you lose it. And underneath it, what's the underlying angst that's woven through material life? Fear of death. Prabhupada was Abhay Charan, fearless at the lotus feet. Abhay. So Bhaya means fear. There's always some angst. There's always some fear. Fear of getting old, fear of dropping dead, fear of losing it, fearing what happens at the time of death. Hurricanes, earthquakes, fires, cancer. People go to the doctor, they get some biopsy, and if it comes back and you're completely in anxiety, is it going to be cancer? Is it a brain tumor? What's going to happen to me? So there's always that angst, that anxiety woven through life. Working hard, so hard you have to foam at the mouth, frustrated, and anxiety about fear and loss. And then last there's which is mrityu, which is the coup de grace. After laboring just like a beast of burden, foaming at the mouth, not satisfied, full of anxiety, how does it all end? You drop dead. Jai. Sorry, folks, but that's life. I mean, you get little glitz along the way. You get little ephemeral glitz. Little spark every now and then of something ephemeral. So, the point being made here, and we'll end, Dhruva Maharaj is saying, don't be foolish. And we find that again and again. Rishabdev, to his sons, don't be foolish. Have a backbone. Stand and fight. Get the permanent. Don't give it up for this ice cream that's going to melt in your cup. All right. Well, then my work's done here. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you. Hare Krishna.